scraps, scraps, more scraps, and more, and even more. Hello everybody, and welcome to my channel. My name is Marlies, and in this video we're going to spend some time together in this pile of scraps. We are going to create with scraps, get inspired by them, and also discuss some things that you can do with them. Of course, I do work with scraps more than only today in this video, but why especially today? Well, I have to say I've been invited by Francesca. She goes by the name of Junk Journal Joy on Instagram and also on YouTube. But I was invited for this challenge. This challenge is called Junk Journal Joy Challenge 2023. I took on the invitation because Francesca said, use your scraps is the theme. And I love this theme, working with scraps, because it gives so many possibilities and the creativity is endless. Francesca also asked all the creators, because I am not alone in this, there are there are in total 11 creators, I think, maybe 12, but she also asked to make a connection to the subject self-care through creativity. And my link to that item is, when I look at this, it is a pile, it is a lot, it is all kinds of scraps and leftovers and snippets. It is, well, it can be chaotic, and that also happens in our lives. I mean, life is happening. You do not always control what is happening, so life can be chaotic too. And there is no better way to get some relaxation and self-care through creativity. Being creative, creating, doing, it's all an adventure. And new things, challenging things, adventure things can also give you the feeling of being alive, being happy, feeling inspired, feeling passionate about something. And that is what this is all about. For now, I do not know at all what I'm going to make, but first thing, what I'm going to do is make a selection of some papers that will speak to me. Let's dive in. I started out by looking through this bag. This bag is full of leftovers from my Tim Holtz papers. So what caught my eye? I mean, you can see over here, I have some kind of colors. You can see I made a stack with some yellow colors. Here you can see I have some purple tones and some neutrals. Over here I have green tones, also in combination with neutral colors. And here I have some blue tones. And when we take a good look at this, I can even combine it also with some red tones. So I will look for that later. And also some orange tones. And that means we can work in a little bit of a rainbow colored theme today. What I also found in my stash is some, well, these are some papers where I have tried out my stamp set with the inspector, but I have a white space left over here, so I'm going to use that to cut out some ATC cards. And the same goes for this paper. I have a lot of white area left over here on the right side, so also out of this paper I will cut some ATC cards. When I have cut the ATC cards, I will make a collage on top of the cards, and for every card I will choose one color. So in the end we will have 6 cards, because we have 6 colors in the rainbow. When you have never heard of ATC card, it means artist trading cards. So you make little cards, you decorate them, and you can trade those cards with other ATC makers. Now, what is the size of an ATC card? When we are talking in inches, it is 2.5 by 3.5 inches. And when we are talking about the metric system in centimeters, it will be 8.9 centimeters by 6.4 centimeters. My cards are cut into the right size. What we are going to do right now is to make a little collage in blue tones, purple tones and green tones in combination with neutrals on these 3 cards. I am happy with my first setup of those pieces of paper on my ATC cards. What I will need is some glue, some Distress Ink Vintage Photo, I'm using a blending tool, and scissors to cut off any excess. So this is what we have so far, but you can see I still have some white space left over, and I would like to also collage that with some pieces of paper in the right color scheme. So what did I do? I went back into my bags of scraps and I made a couple of stacks. Neutral colors, blue tones, purples, and greens. So what kind of scraps am I looking for? For example, this piece of leftover label that will go very easily on the side of those little cards. Or some leftovers from my collage strips, and you can see I have some neutral tones, and also, well, maybe the camera does not pick up very well, but there is a haze of lavender in this piece, so that could go very well on my purple card. Then a piece of transparency in green tones, and yeah, I can use this on the card, on top of the card as an extra layer, but yeah, time will tell later on if I will use this. And then of course neutrals. Neutrals will always work in combination with every color you desire. So what I'm looking for are some words, maybe some text, written text. Here are some words, and for example on this leftover piece of collage strip, yeah, I like the numbers. Now let's finish up those blank areas. This is what I have right now for the blue card. I made 3 little pieces of collage. They are not glued down yet, so I'm going to ink them up with my vintage photo distress ink, and then I will glue them down. You can see I still have a piece of white area over here, and I found this piece of blue paper, and I will put that on that strip at the end. Now let me first get out my ink and ink up all the edges. And the blue card, the base layer, is ready. For the purple card, I found these 2 pieces of leftover collage strips, so I'm going to ink them up and glue them down and cut off the excess. And the base for our purple card. And our last color, the green card. And here we have all 6 cards of our rainbow colors, because in the meantime I also made a yellow card, an orange card and one with red tones. So what are we going to do right now? I'm going back into my stash of all those little bits and bobs, pieces of collage strips, little pieces of ephemera, words, numbers, maybe a little flower, and I'm going to build up another layer, a second layer, on top of the collages. Building up the second layer, I will start with the blue card. So what is in front of me? I have a piece of transparency, a blue label, one of the mini paper dolls, some design tape, and a leftover piece of remnant drops. When I look at the card right now, I can see this area is quite blue and this is quite neutral. And what I would like to create in this extra layer is a little bit more interest. So I'm going to put some tape, I think, and some remnant drops in the back on the neutral tones, to create contrast and more interest. Our first ATC card is ready. I really like it, but you might think, why not more layers? I mean, you can use like ribbon or pieces of mummy cloth, snippets around or underneath the man, some teared pieces of paper, but there is a reason for that I'm not doing so many layers today. Because I want to store all 6 ATC cards in maybe, like an envelope-shaped storage system. So when my cards are too chunky, too thick, they might not fit in the basic structure. And I really want to make that structure, so I have a nice storage system and also a nice way to display the cards. Now let's move on to our second card, the purple tones. So what do I have for this card? I have a piece of one of the collage strips with numbers on it. I have a butterfly. I have a leftover piece of transparency. I have made a white label with a piece of remnant rub on top. And again, I have some design tape. And maybe to fill up some blanks, I have some leftover pieces of the remnant rubs. This is how our purple toned card turned out. Only thing left to do is to concentrate on our green ATC card, so that will be my next step. Well, what do we have for our green ATC card? I have 2 mini paper dolls. I have the same design tape again. I have a leftover piece of transparency. And again, for filling up some clear areas, I have some leftover remnant drops. Okay, so I have placed the transparency on the left bottom corner over here. On top there is a strip of design tape and I have put on the remnant drops. On top I will place those mini paper dolls, but when I looked at this corner it is quite empty and quite green. I would like something to be there, some numbers, some words, something that is appealing and attractive to the eyes. To fill that gap up, I have found these two little pieces of leftover paper and I will place it on the green side on the left of the card. And also our green card is finished. Here are all three cards together, but in the meantime I also made the other cards. Here we have the yellow card. You can see I've put on a leftover piece of paper, also the remnant drops in the corner, a piece of design tape on the sides, and also some remnant drops over here, and a piece of the collage strips. For the orange card I have chosen the mini paper dolls. I mean, look at those boys, and I really love the contrast of their, you know, the dark clothes and some white also in there. And I made some accents, some darker accents with the remnant drops, a piece of design tape below here, and a remnant rub on the bottom. And last but not least, the red colors. And yeah, I think it turned out awesome, again with some remnant drops, some numbers, you know, the toadstools, a little piece of ephemera, and again some remnant drops and a leftover piece of paper that I had laying around. Earlier in this video I told you I would like to create something, some kind of structure, some kind of system to store these nice ATC cards. And that is what I want to do with you guys next, so let's get going. In front of me I have an A4 size piece of craft colored paper, and I would like to make this paper into some kind of pockets on the bottom and a pocket over here. I also want to score some lines so you can fold it up. I need also some score lines over here, so I will have a flap that will, you know, goes down and I can close the structure. So let's start with the shape of the flap for the closure. I have this die cut that I will put up here. Of course, you can see it is not large enough for the width of this paper, but that is totally fine because I will cut this shape out and then hand cut these sides. I searched for the center of the die and also the center of the width of my paper. Put the die down and I will hold it in place with just two pieces of tape. And now I will run it through my machine. This is what we have, and now I will get my ruler out and my knife and I will cut this piece and I will cut this piece. This is how the flat will turn out. I have put the cards on the sheets to get a little bit of an overview of my measurements, because over here we would like 2 score lines with just a little bit of space in between, so you will have some room to fold up the envelope. The same we are going to do on the top. So lay out your cards and then measure this height and also this height. Keep it in the same measurements, like when it's 3 inch, keep it 3 inch for the top row and also for the bottom row. So I have made my score lines so the cards will fit exactly in the height in this piece and also in the bottom piece. But before I'm going to make some kind of pockets, I will decorate the back of this paper just a little bit. So I will get out a stamp set and some ink. I have chosen the Tim Holtz stamp set Shattered. The number is CMS 466. The ink that I'm going to use is this archival ink Freight Burlap. This is a mini one, so I would recommend if you're going to stamp larger areas, you may want to use a larger ink pad, but I only have the small one and I really want this color. So archival ink Freight Burlap. And look how cool that is. I will do the rest also and then I will get back to you. Okay, so our stamping is done. I am going to fold the score lines and I'm going to ink up all the edges with my Distress Ink Vintage Photo. And when I fold it in total, this is the effect that I am looking for. The inking is done, and because I also inked those, you know, those creases, those score lines, I folded the other way around. This was meant to be the inside, but because of my folding it turned out for now on the outside. But I like it so much that I'm going to repeat my stamping on both sides of the craft colored paper. The stamping and inking on both sides are done. I really like the effect, a great stamp set this, but my next step that we're going to do is to make some pockets so we can put our cards inside. I found these 2 strips of leftover paper. These are from one of the Tim Holtz paper packs, and I would like to put one over here and one over here. But first, let's ink. On these strips of paper I have made the lines, the stitching lines, to divide the piece into 3 for all 3 cards, but I'm not going to stitch this strip of paper onto our basic structure, because when you stitch over here you will also see it on this side and I do not want that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue this to my structure. Our interim score for right now is this. This is what we have. I like it. I like the effect. I like that there is something going on in the background, you know, the stamping that we did. I also like the papers. I mean, there is something there, some text. It's a different kind of color, so you will have some contrast in this work. But yeah, we have still some room left on top of those pockets. So I will be back with an idea so we can embellish those strips of paper just a little bit more. You can see I created some labels. And how did I do that? So I have some leftover pieces of paper. You can already see I have cut out some of the labels that you can see over here. But I need two, because I have a fourth one in my hand, I need two more. So what did I do? I used this die set, this label die set from Tim Holtz. I will put the set here to the side next to my finger. But how does that work? So I have the archival ink frayed burlap, the mini. I will ink up those raised areas on the die, then gently turn it over, put it on the paper and get it through the machine. This will be the result, but I would like another kind of inlay. So with my knife I have cut out the inside lines to create a frame. When you use the same die cut again on a different kind and color of paper, without any ink on those raised areas, you will have your label for the back. And there you have it. I have two more frames and two more labels for those two pockets on the right. So I'm going to glue the frames on top of these whole labels. I have the 6 labels, so now I will glue them down in the middle, exactly in the middle of those pockets, in a nice row. The labels are on there, they are done, but I think they are a little bit like plain. I would like a little bit more of a decoration on top. So I went into my stash to find something that could go with my theme of colors and could go maybe in a nice corner of the label. And this is what I came up with. I would like to place some flowers in the top right corner of the labels. So I found this die set from Sizzix and Tim Holtz. I will also show you the number. The number of this die set is 666284. And this one caught my eye. It could be too big for the corner of the label, but you can always alter your dies or your die cuts, because you can use maybe one flower or maybe just one piece of the leaves. So yeah, let's find out together how I can make it fit on top of those labels. How did I decide on what color or color combination I would use for the flowers? I went back into my paper stash, my leftover pieces, and of course we worked in the rainbow colors. So what did I do? I have cut out the flowers out of my scrap papers and I paid attention to the colors that I already used. So when you look at what we already created, I wanted a flower in blue tones, purple tones, greens, some yellow, orange and a red. And as soon as I cut my shapes, I have a little container on the side, so I can right away after cutting put all those little pieces into the divided boxes. When you work like this, you have a great overview of your materials and also where the specific color is. You have seen that I already cut the flowers into the 6 different kind of colors, but I also want leaves. I'm going to cut the leaves with this die cut. It is from the same set that I just showed you with the flowers on it. But of course I would need something, well, greenish for the leaves. And I'm going to make and prepare a paper so I can cut out this shape. I have a leftover piece of paper. I have a little brayer and I'm going to put some distress paint on here with the brayer. not a thick layer, just gently roll it up and down. And I will do that with this color. It is the Distress Paint Rustic Wilderness. And this is how I like my coverage, so the leaves will all look different when I cut them out. So you have some areas where the paint is a little bit thicker, and you have some clear and some wider areas in between. And after die cutting the green paper, this is what we will have. Now let's assemble the flowers and the leaves. Of course, I made the flowers and leaves in all 6 colors. So here we have the blue, the purple and the green. But here you can see I already did the yellow, the orange and the red flowers. And I also added a word on the bottom of the label with a remnant drop. So now I will finish these 3 on the top with the flowers and also adding the word on the bottom. So this was the inside of the project, but also we worked on the outside. So right now I will fold this up, and what you can see, what I already created is a larger circle with a smaller circle on top with an eyelet in there. So you will have the opportunity to use some string or lace or ribbon to pull it through and wrap it around. So let me dive into my box with ribbons and let me find the perfect match for this envelope. So this is my choice for today. And why this color? Well, the envelope is already like only craft color, and there is a little bit of blue in here. And I love the combination of blue and red. So with that being said, let me put the string through the hole and wrap it around. Ta-da! We are done! The project is finished. I hope you enjoyed my video. I hope you learned something or got some inspiration out of it. When you do, please like, subscribe or comment down below. And I also want to ask you to go visit the other makers in this challenge, and I will put all their information in the description box below. Thank you for spending time on my channel. Have a great day. Bye!